So today's session is basically, as you can see in my video. So we have to start Python. So for electrical, okay. So now we know, so this programming languages is for some application. So we have to develop some software. Okay. So it is very good that, relevant to some application, if you study this programming language, then we can understand the importance of this particular programming language. Since we are all know the concepts in electrical domain, so let us take up the electrical domain and start working on the Python. Say for example, if you search the tutorials on the Python, okay, so you will get a lot of materials. So even in YouTube also, you'll get a lot of tutorials. So right from how to execute Python to the advanced level, you'll get all kind of tutorial. So now you can definitely go through all those tutorials, videos, materials, whatever available in the uh, you know uh, uh, Google or any other places. So now I just want to deviate, I just want to, make it something distinct by, only focusing on electrical domain and, using this particular Python programming to, write a program for different kind of application. So that is what I would like to do. Okay. So now this problem is, for example, if I want to do, say addition of two numbers or multiplication of two numbers in in all those materials, they will tell in generic. Okay. So addition of two array. Okay. So they will do addition of two array, addition of two matrix. They will do addition of two matrix, and they do multiplication. So they will explain in general. But now what I'll do, I'll take up some application. The same thing I'll explain in the electrical perspective, and it we can understand where exactly and how exactly we can use this particular Python. That is the whole idea. Okay, so now I'll start. So I'll be using today Jupyter Lab. Okay, so to install Jupyter Lab, okay, I'm just sharing my screen. Okay, so you have to install Jupyter Lab. Okay, so now you have to download Jupyter Lab. So say for example, so you have to go to this place. Can you see my screen? All of you, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. So now the thing is, I already explained where you have to install, uh, Jupyter Lab in my second session. So this is the place where you have Jupyter Lab and Jupyter Notebook. You just have to download, okay, and you can install. Okay, so and even one more command is there. So you can see in my notebook. So there is one command is there. Pip install Jupyter Lab. Okay, you have to install this particular command in the command prompt. After that, you have to run this particular command. So these two commands you have to execute to make your platform ready. Then if you type just Jupyter Lab in the command prompt, your Jupyter Lab will start. So complete details is available in this particular place. Okay, I'll just share this particular link. So this is the place where the details are given. Okay, so I'll share this one. Anyway, I installed that particular Jupyter Lab. What I'll do, I'll just go to the command prompt. Okay, I'll just run this Jupyter Lab command. So you can see here the Jupyter Lab server is started, and I just went inside. Okay, so now here you see in Jupyter Lab, so it will always point to the default folder. Okay, that is your user folder in your machine. So now if you want to change that particular user folder, that means say for example this is the place where I want to keep my program. Say, for example, today I am conducting class. In this particular place, I want to keep my program. Then what you have to do? Okay, so you have to run this particular command. So what is that command? So this command you have to run. I'll share this particular notebook. So why you have to run this one? You have to generate that particular notebook configuration file, and inside that particular notebook, say for example, you have to replace this with your system, you know, uh, username. Then you have to open this particular file. Okay, so after running this command in the notebook, okay, so what you have to do, you just have to open that particular document. I am just opening that particular document. Okay, so when you open that particular document, you will see some content. Then what you have to do, you just have to add this particular code. Okay, so this code followed this code followed by the path inside this particular single code. Now you can see I added. If you go to the end, you can see here at the last line, I added the particular line. So here you can see here c dot notebook app dot notebook directory is equal to this. So now after giving this particular setting for your Jupyter notebook, then when you restart your Jupyter lab using same Jupyter lab command, then what happens? You will land up in this particular place. Now here you can see, okay, so this particular directory now is pointing to, okay, this directory is basically pointing to whatever we set in that particular path. So the thing is, you should not, land up in some default places. You should be in a position to move to some directory and it should work, so that your data persists and you can have a hold on that particular places. This is the best practice whenever you work on any programming languages or any program. Make sure that you are working in some specific directories. Okay, so all your works will be saved in that particular directory. That is the best practice. You just have to go to that particular directory and you have to work. Okay, so that is what I did in this particular Jupyter Lab. I installed Jupyter Lab. I configured Jupyter Lab or Jupyter Notebook to a specific folder. And then I started Jupyter Notebook and it is coming. Now, here what I'll do. See, today is basically, you can see, we want to learn Python for electrical domain. Okay, so we want to use. So now my first case study or examples what I'll take up is basically DC circuit Python library. Okay, so this is what I want to do today. Okay, so DC circuit Python library. So I'll start with very simple demonstrations, but later stages I'll go to kind of some complex program. Okay, so that's why today itself I'll start with simple program. I'll land up in some complex way of defining the things. So that's why just focus on today's class. Okay, so that is the agenda today. So let us write a Python program for electrical domain. Okay, in Jupyter Node Lab or Jupyter Notebook, select this one. Okay, now what I'll do here, okay, I'll write a simple program, say Ohm's law. Okay, I want to write a program for Ohm's law. Okay, so I think everybody knows Ohm's law. Okay, can anybody unmute yourself and tell me what is Ohm's law? Any one person voluntarily? Yeah, somebody said good.
Equal to IR.
Who is this? Could you please say your name and tell?
Amrita, sir.
Amrita, please. So Amruta,
is equal to IR. Yes,
V
sir.
is
Voltage
equal
is directly proportional.
directly proportional to the current. Okay, fine, great. What is the proportionality constant? Is called
Resistance.
resistance. Okay. So, thank you. You can mute yourself. Now we know this, correct? So Ohm's law, we know this. So now, uh, when we use Ohm's law, okay. So if two parameters are given, okay, like if voltage and current is given, we can calculate resistance. If resistance and current is given, then you can calculate voltage. Okay, so if voltage and resistance is given, you can calculate current. So if any two parameters are given, you can calculate other parameter, unknown parameter. So that is basically, you can say what exactly this Ohm's law is. So let us, let us write that particular program. See, I'm just starting my program. See, voltage is equal to 230 volts. Okay, current is equal to 1 amps, sorry, 2 amps. Okay, current is equal to 2 amps. Now, using sensors, I got this value. Voltage value and current value, I got this from the sensor. Then I want to find resistance. Resistance is equal to, as you know, Amruta said, so resistance is equal to V by I. Sorry, V is equal to IR. Okay, is this correct now? So this program you understood now today? You understood this program?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So V is equal to 230, I is equal to 2, R is equal to V by I. We calculated resistance. Okay, it will give in terms of ohms. Now, this is very simple program, but a lot of meanings are there. Okay, so now we have taken values from the sensor, voltage value and current value. Maybe you are using some, CTPT. Okay, so to take the voltage and current values, you are receiving your RMS value. Okay, you see the restrictions. I'm taking RMS value here and using that RMS value, I'm calculating the load. Okay, resistance I'm calculating. Now, if I run this particular program, okay, so R is calculated anyway. Okay, so now what you can do, you can, you can customize your output. You can customize your output. Okay, so something like, Ohm's law. Okay, I'm printing. You see, I'm just making myself familiar with the statements. So Ohm's law. Okay, so voltage is equal to, okay, so V print. Okay, current is equal to I. Okay, print. Okay, resistance is equal to R. Okay, now you can observe here, I just use some output statements here. So I executed. Now you can see here Ohm's law and voltage is equal to 230, current is equal to 2 and resistance is equal to 115 ohms. So that is what now I just executed Ohm's law here. And even you can you can take a input from the console. You can take a input from the console like how you do in MATLAB input command. Same kind of input command is also available here. But now I'll start. Now what I did here, basically I written a sequential program. This program is applicable for finding the resistance. Okay, the same thing what I'll do now, I'll just switch to the function. Okay, so I want to execute this particular program using functions. Till now what I did, sequentially I written a code. Okay, so now I'll switch to function. Finding that particular resistance value, I will make it as a function. That is what I'll do now. So to do that one, what we have to do, say you have to use something called diff. Okay, so DEF, what command you have to use to create a function. So I'm creating a function. That function name is, okay, say for example, uh, you know, uh, find resistance. Find resistance is the function name. And then you're putting some, you have to give this particular colon and you have to press enter. Here, what you have to understand, the indent is very important in Python. So one indent means you are moving to the next block. Okay. So now the thing is, this resistance is a function. Inside this function, you need to define some block. So to define that particular blocks, you have to give one indent. If you give one indent, whatever content comes in that particular level will be considered as the will be considered as part of that particular function. Yeah, we'll Ashwin will start, but I just want to give this idea. Then I'll come back. Okay, I'll come back. Okay, so now function definition I am just writing. Now you see, earlier we written simple code that I just want to convert that to a function. Okay, so now I'm not spending much time in the primitives. Okay, so primitives we will learn by doing some application-oriented programmings. Okay, so say I can take up the explanation for the function using addition of two numbers, but I want to take this as example so that we can understand. So why that exactly used? Okay, so what is this? Find resistance is the function. Now you see here. Okay, so I want to pass two parameters for this. So what are those? Voltage and current I need to pass. You have to use comma separated parameters, okay, to pass any parameter to a function. Okay, so after function name, inside that bracket, you have to specify all the parameter what you will pass. Now what is the outcome? Outcome, it has to calculate voltage by current. Voltage by current it has to calculate. Okay, so then it has to store in some variable R. Okay, then this particular R value is the output of that particular program. So to tell the function to return that particular value, to output that particular value from this particular function, you have to use return command. Then you have to give that particular return value. In this particular case, output is resistance R I am writing. Okay, then after that, what you have to do, the function is created now. Okay, the function is created. Then what I'll do, you see, entire thing I'll keep it as it is, but only the thing, this particular function I'll use in my calculation. You see here. Initially, I had just written the sequential program. Okay, and in this particular case, I defined a function to find the resistance value. Because you see, in this particular case, finding the resistance value may be very simple. But we know, there are a lot of problems are there which requires a lot of steps to be carried out to solve that particular problem. In that particular case, sequential program won't work. All those things we have to bring in inside the function. So that is how you have to think. So whenever any calculation, everything is there, you just have to create a function. Now you see, my objective is already stated. I want to create a library for the DC circuit. Now I created one function. So for the DC circuit, you see, finding the resistance, okay, find resistance is basically function I created. That means I created some library. Okay, so using that particular library, I can calculate resistance value. So it may be any complexity. I find resistance value, I'll come to other things. So when I run this particular program, you see, the same output it is giving. But now compared to your previous program, this program, okay, is just calling this particular function. Okay, hope you are following. So, is there any clarification required on these two programs? Anyone can unmute yourself and you can say, or you can post any comment in the chat box. Yeah, thank you, Sayak. So I'll just proceed. You see, in this particular case, what I did, I written a function in the same file. That is not a best practice. See, whenever you use library will be somewhere else. You just use that particular library. Okay, so that is what we have to understand now. So I should not keep my function in the same file. That is not a best practice. Always your function should be somewhere else, and you just have to import that particular function into your program and you have to use. So that is the best practice. In this particular program also, you can see I am writing function there itself in my program itself. This is not a best practice. So then your your coding will be will be very complex, and too much coding will be there in the same file. So this problem you will face. So that's why it is better to break your entire code into different modules. So that is what you have to follow. Now what I'll do, I'll keep all my functions in some other file and I'll import that particular library. So you have to understand this, because this is what exactly everybody does in Python. In Python, the library will be somewhere else. We just use that particular library and we write a program. So to understand that particular concept, so what we have to do, we have to keep this particular function some other place and we have to use. Okay, so say for example, I am creating one file here now. Okay, I am creating one file. Okay, so I am just renaming that particular file as so it has to be Python file. So now I am giving something DC circuit, okay, library. Just you just have to remember this particular name. Okay, DC circuit library.py. Okay, I just created that particular file. Then you just have to open that particular file, and whatever functions you are defining, you just have to move that particular functions to the file what you have created. Now you see only one thing I did here. I just moved this particular functions to this particular file. Then what I'll do, you see the third program, there is one command called from. So DC circuit library, okay, import star. This means from that particular file, DC circuit.py file, which is present in that particular directory, you import all the functions. Okay, all the functions. Okay, fortunately we have only one function here, but you may have hundreds, thousands of functions. So all functions if you want to import, you can import like this. If you want to specifically import to to increase the time performance, you can give like this also. You can simply import that particular function. So for time being, let us import all the things. Now you see what I'll do. I'll just use this particular code. Okay, I'll just write a program. Now you see how the program is became now. So voltage is equal to 230, I is equal to 2 from the sensor I used. So R is equal to find resistance, okay, using voltage and current. You see where this function came from. This particular functions came from this particular file. Okay, I am just taking all the library from that particular thing. So you see when I run this particular program, same output you are getting. So what we did now, we created a library. So as I said, so now as an electrical student, you see libraries are not available. Okay, So we have to create libraries for electrical domain. So that is not at all available. Almost all the problems, whatever present in electrical domain, you can create a Python library. So just imagine for machine design, one library is there. Using that library, you can design transformer, you can design DC motor, you can design, alternator, something like that. Now, all those things are procedures, just some procedures, some mathematical calculation. You can create a library in the Python, platform. So that is how you have to see. Now, DC circuit means it's not a simple. DC circuit means it's not just Ohm's law. You have so many other laws. So you have superposition law, maximum power transfer. Okay, so you have Thevenin's theorem, Norton theorems. Lot of theorems are there. All those theorems you can convert, and you can make that as a library. That is basically not available in the Python or in the library. So there may be some discrete one, but consolidated library is not available for electrical domain. So that is where I just want to trigger you using this kind of uh, uh, library creation, how we can contribute to our domain. Or you want to work on robot, fine, you can develop a library for that. Okay, so how it is just creation of some functions in some particular file, and just release that particular functions to others, and that will become a library. Now in this particular case, if I share this DC circuit library.py, that means I'm sharing the library. Okay, so now let us increase kind of some complexity. Okay, so for example, I just want to add more functions. See, find resistance is fine. Somebody may ask, if I have say voltage and resistance, how can I calculate current? So voltage and say resistance I want to calculate current. How can I do? Yeah, you can create a library. What is that? I is equal to V by R. Done. So you just have to you have to change the find current. You see, find current. Okay, second function is ready. So somebody may ask, okay, what is the if current and resistance are given, how to calculate voltage? Okay, so voltage is equal to IR, I into R. Okay, so in this case you have to return current. In this case you have to return voltage. Now you observe this particular function. This functions three functions I created. One is to find the resistance, other is to find the current. Okay, other function is to calculate the voltage value. Three function I created. Now you see, let me come back to my program. So same thing you have to do. Okay, so you are calculating the resistance. Okay, so if voltage and current is given, if if you have the resistance and see, resistance is given, say 100 ohms, and current is also given 200. Okay, sorry, 2 amps. Then my objective is what? My objective is to find voltage. So now here you just have to change this particular function to my find voltage function. So what parameter you have to pass? You have to pass current and resistance. If you pass current and resistance, and you can find out the voltage. So now you see, when I run this particular, so there is some, no, you see how to debug. The name find voltage is not defined. Not defined where? Okay, in this particular function. So I just saved this one. Find voltage. It is there actually. Okay, I'm just executing again. Okay, so voltage, but let me see. Current value. Okay, I think it compiled and yeah, I compiled. I'll just rename this one. Some issue is there in my machine. Okay, I'll just import that particular second library what I created. Now you see, it is outputting. I just renamed that one. So because it compiled and it is stored, but this is how you can do. So here you see, so whatever functions you have created in that particular directory, you can use now. So you can calculate current, you can calculate now in this particular case, we have to calculate voltage. Voltage is equal to IR. Now you can see when you run this one, it is calculating voltage as a 200 volts. So now you see what we did. We created a functions. So any clarification at this particular point? Anyone want any clarification?
No, sir. No, sir.
Everybody understood what I am trying to explain? So I started with normal simple coding, okay, sequential program. Then I introduced a function inside the same file, and then I moved my function to a different file and I executed. Okay, and I included many functions inside that to work on my task. Okay, so that is what I did. Okay, now the next one is basically actually a creation of anonymous function is not correct. Okay, so basically we have to create classes. Okay, so when you create classes, then only that will be considered as a library. Okay, so now if you learn classes and objects, then I think the entire thing in the Python you can understand. So you can understand all third party library. So that is what I'll try to do. I'll take some 5 minutes to work on that part. Okay, so I'll create creation of library. I said it's just keeping all function inside one file. Actually, that is not true. That is not correct. Okay, that is not a best practice. So the best practice is that you have to create a class, not a function. So you have to create a class. Inside that particular class, you have to keep all your function. Okay, so that is the best practice, and in fact everybody does that only. So I said creation of library is just keeping all functions inside one file. That is not correct. So creation of library means keeping all functions and variables inside a class. Okay, using that particular library, you have to create a object in your program. So that is what exactly what others do, and how exactly the Python is evolved. See, I can write a class, I can keep all my functions inside a class, I can publish. Then that means what? I just created a library, other person can use that particular library. Okay, so that is how you have to understand. So now that is what I'll do. I'll create one more file. Okay, so one more file. Let's rename this one as this one, let it be. I'm just renaming this one as okay, DC circuit lib. Okay, DC circuit lib is the file where I just want to create a class. To create a class, it is very simple. You just have to use the word class followed by the class name. So class name I am just giving as say DCC lib. Okay, so DC circuit library. Okay, DCC lib is my class name. Then you just have to give semicolon, because class is also some block. You're defining some content in inside that particular class. So to define that particular content, you have to give you have to define inside a block. If you are defining a blocks, you have to give one indent. So that means how you have to understand. So this is the class under that. So this entire function comes. Okay, so this is the function. Inside this particular function, this many statements comes. So now this is done now. So what is this? This is basically creation of a class. Okay, create a class with some name and keep all your function inside that particular file. Okay, so then come back to your program to import the libraries present in that particular file. You have to use the same thing, but here DCC, okay, DCC lib, DCC circuit lib is the file name. Okay, and you can import all the thing, or you can import specific functions. Now here what you have to understand, this find voltage is basically anonymous function. Okay, so now we have to make it, you have to create a object. From that particular object we have to call that particular function. So now that is what I'll do. In first, what I'll do, I'll create a object. So what is that object? Object is say my DC circuit. Okay, my DC circuit is equal to the name of the class present in that particular library. Okay, sorry, this one I just want to keep it here. Okay, so in this particular file, what is there? So a class is created. This class name you just have to take and you have to paste it here. So when you do like this, then what happens? An object is created. So that object contains all variables and function. All variable functions. You can use all variables inside this particular class and all functions available inside that particular class. So that is why you create object. So first step is you have to create a object. Now object is created in this particular using this particular library. Then whenever you use any variable or any function, you have to prefix that with the object and dot. Very important thing, this particular syntax. Okay, so object name dot you have to use. When you use like that, so that means object is created from using this particular DCC lib class, and inside that you have a function. You are using that function instant. So now the same program I'll run. So now you see importing library, and I'm creating a object. R value, I value I have. I just want to calculate the voltage value. So let me run this program. Okay. Yeah. So I'll just tune this one, because there should be one init function should be there. Okay, init function should be there. So that I just want to add, or I'll just add here itself. Self. There is some error. Can anybody rectify? Can anybody rectify this particular problem? Voltage, current, and resistance. Yeah, it can print. So find voltage method is there in basically this particular object. DCC lib is present in this particular file. Okay, the code is correct. Okay, I'll just rename this because it is some issue is there. I'll just rename this one to Yeah. So you see, I got the same result. Okay. So now, what should be your observation? This is the standard one. So this is how exactly the same structure what they use everywhere. Okay. So they will uh, take a library from somewhere, or they will create their own. They will create a object. So then they will use the variables and functions present in that particular object. Okay, so this is what exactly everybody does. So if you understood this program, I think everything, every program you can understand, every third party program you can understand, whatever, you take from the, the internet. So all those programs you can understand. So this is the basic things, what you have to understand when you are writing a coding. So let me summarize what we have done today. So we started with a simple, program, sequential program, and then we started, adding function. Okay. Then we kept that particular function outside the file what we are working on, and then we imported that particular functions, anonymous functions. Then what we did, so we added more functions. Okay. So then we called other functions also, and then what we did finally, we created a class, and we, using that particular class, we, accessed the variables and function in present in that particular, file. Now here we can call that as now library now. So we imported library and we use that particular library. Now you see, like this, I can add n number of things. I can add all Thevenin's theorem, Norton theorem, maximum power transfer theorem, everything I can add. So then it will become a complete, package or library for DC circuit. So this is how you can implement. So similarly, you can implement other things also. Okay. So any clarification required on this program? Okay. So any question you can ask in the chat box. If you have any question, you can ask in the chat box, please. Okay. It should return high. Yeah, maybe in some other. Okay. Any clarifications if you have, I'll answer. Any doubt you have in this? So my request is kindly refer the Python tutorials available in other places. Okay. So now the thing is, now what is important thing I'll start, and what is required thing I'll start and I'll explain. Then the next coming topics I'll take up some statements like for loop, while loop, and all those things I'll take up and I'll explain. But I just wanted to convey this structure, this Python structure, the programming. Okay, Python programming I wanted to convey at the beginning itself. So then I just want to use the same practice in future. So that's why I showed this particular program. And also you see the relevance to the domain, that is most important. So that is also we did today. Okay. So if you don't have any questions, we can break. Okay. I just have to complete because I just want to close the loop. So that's why it took time, but so try to